So yeah, this goes back to that Greg Braden thing I was talking about, or he talks about, as, you know, you add your thought, you add emotion to your thought, okay? And then that thing, if you listen to the second episode yesterday where he talks about the little baby girls, right? Whenever he says that story, you have a visualization. When he says that story, you can't even help it, right? I mean, if you're not listening, then obviously you can not have that visualization. But if you're listening to him, when he says that story where that baby girl puts her arm around her sister whose vitals are going down, you automatically visualize that. And the visualization of that baby girl saving her dying twin sister automatically makes an emotional reaction. So you have the thought, you have the visualization, and then your body just has a reaction to it, okay? This is how magic is done against your will as well, okay, with tragedies and shit like that happening. I listened to an incredible one today about Greg Braden, and he talks about the scientists were looking at this one anomaly, and the magnetic pole, the magnetic polarity, or the magnetic pole, I forget how he worded it, but anyways, there's a magnetic polarity, the magnetic poles on the Earth. There was one day where it was off the charts. It was doing something crazy, okay? It was completely, they've never seen this before. And so they traced it in time to what day this may have happened, okay? And when they did that, it turned out to be 9 a.m. or 9:03 a.m., something to that effect, on September 11th, 2001, the day the Twin Towers came down, the planes crashed. And it happened about 8:45 a.m. when the planes hit the towers. And they said, and the scientists said roughly for the satellites to transmit to the media, it took about 15 minutes for the first airings of those things to happen, for the first people to get it, and then word of mouth and all that. So 15 minutes after 8:45, when it supposedly happened, is when that same magnetic pole shifting craziness, irregularity happened, okay? And it's because a bunch of people found out that the Twin Towers were struck by planes, and that it was a terrorist attack, and that America was under attack, and that people had lost their lives due to Al-Qaeda or terrorists or whatever the case was. So all these people that heard a story had an image in their head, and their body automatically had a feeling that got associated with that image. And because so many people had it at the same time, the poles on this planet Earth that hold us all together, that connect us all together, that keeps the world doing what it's supposed to do, the seasons, the wobble, all this shit was affected because so many people felt something. To me, it almost sounds like this might have been an experiment. But anyways, and to me, I listened to that today, and that was no coincidence. And it ties into exactly what I'm talking about. And if you can't see that, well, it's all right. With time you will. But point is, we affect our world. We are the universe. We are the world. And this goes back to that number for the 7 billion people on the planet. It only takes 8,000 people. Imagine if 3.5 billion people heard about the Twin Towers, or even 2 billion people heard about that, and we're having sad feelings and fearful feelings and all this all at the same fucking time. Well, it's been proven. That's what I love about Greg. He's spiritual, but he brings the science into the spiritual, and he shows you the facts of how the spiritual shit affects the scientific shit, and it's so profound and amazing. And none of this is amazing on the level that people had to die for us to know this, because it's terrible. It's absolute tragedy. I made an episode about this, and I was actually crying, so I don't want to talk about it too much, because that's going to happen again, because I'm a very empathic, emotional person. But that being said, there's a correlation here to us, the world, and what I think. So your sigil magic, this is why I say after you blend that in, you make it so you can't see that sigil whatsoever anymore, and you don't even see your paper, or your hands holding the paper, or the background of your living room, or your altar, or the candles, or nothing. All you see is just blankness. Okay, that's when you close your eyes and you put that sigil back up, okay? And you can put the whole setting back in. You can put your living room in the background. You can put everything in the background. I would, but it's up to you. You can just put the sigil. You can make the sigil huge if you want, and just there. And then all of a sudden, you can maybe leave the sigil there if you want, or at that point, associate what you how this happens and not to direct that you affect it. So like I said, if you said you get $1,000, well, imagine yourself after you already received $1,000 and don't think about how it came in. Now you can, and I have done this and it worked. I did visualizations from this one book I'm going to find. I'm supposed to do this like 4 months ago, I think, and I can't find the book. That's the problem. But it was a visualization. It was a meditation exercise, just using your mind only. No candles, no ritual. I made a circle, but all in your mind from your couch or wherever you want, where you meditate and you visualize yourself going somewhere near your house. And then all of a sudden there's a portal that opens up. And in that portal you see this big altar. And from this altar you end up looking into this water mirror in this altar, and through that mirror you see yourself, and you think you're a manifestation. So for me, I thought about the $10,000 coming to me one of these times, and I saw it. It was me going to my mailbox and pulling out the check, and I got it. And then it didn't actually come via check. It came via, well, 3,000 came via check, and 10 and 7,000 came, or no, this was my income tax time, sorry. It was the income tax time, so it came direct deposit. But it still worked. I still got the cash, so it doesn't matter. So keep that in mind, but I still don't think you should restrict it. I still think you should just assume you got it, doesn't matter how, and you just move forward, and you just come in your house and you're going and you're sharing it with your wife or your husband, or you're talking about it, you're just feeling that gratitude, and you have that visualization of what you're doing with that money, you having that money in your hand, and all the feelings you're having. So this way you're assigning that to that sigil. All this is not necessary, because your mind understands symbolism, and the point of sigils is your mind doesn't understand language as well unless you repeat it over and over again. And once again, affirmations work because you repeat it over and over again so much that you end up making a visualization with that affirmation. And then that's happening in your head over and over and over again to the point where it knows what you want. But you don't have to do none of what I'm saying to actually make this happen. You can just make the sigil and then, pre-charge it, I would still say, doing whatever, the process I just said, meditating on it over and over again and reconstructing in your mind. Okay, to me, that's what I do for my pre-charge, and that would be all you have to do. You don't have to do the extra steps I said, but when I add those extra steps, when I do what I just told you I did, it makes it happen faster. And this is without any recordings or affirmations with the statement and intent. But you can also add that if you wanted to. If you add all your focus onto this one thing, it'll happen faster. And if you're doing something big, if you're not going to take my advice on starting small, maybe go watch the Mind and Magic channel and get the orange ball sigil, set it, forget it, and then just do whatever process you want for this and see what happens. Like I said, I pre-charged it and I got it. But I got a lot of placements in my chart that are my subconscious mind and my conscious mind are already very linked, and I got all these water and all these planet placements that are very occult and higher learning places. And so maybe I have this gift for that, but the downside of me having this is I don't know what to do with my life. I can't find a job that I want to do because I'm so all over the place, and all I want to do is learn this shit. And so as much as this might be a gift, it also is a downfall because I don't have anything. I know what I want to do, you know what I mean? Because there's so many things I want to do, and it can be it could be good just as much as it can be bad. But so that would be my suggestions, is doing that. Now, the Jason guy said he didn't do the visualization, adding the feeling to it part. He did the meditating part and the reconstructing in his mind. And I've heard this from different people as well. And then he said, you're going to do this for 7 days, or 6 or 7 days. Okay, I can't remember. I think it was 6 days. And on the 7th day, you do the sigil you want to do. But every day, you're going to take that string of letters, all the consonants, okay? You take out the vowels, you take out all the double consonants, right? And you make it as magical as you possibly can. Well, on the first day, you're going to make a sigil for that. And if you want to do everything I said, like assigning the feeling and all that, great. But you don't have to. Just meditate on it until it's blurry, reconstruct it in your head, and then you're done. And then hopefully you can bring that picture up in your head. But because it's a sigil, because it's it's symbolism that your mind already understands, you kind of want to confuse it as well. Frater Xavier says to make a bunch of sigils to the point where you don't know what these sigils are anymore. Okay? Now, I'm telling you to add the feeling and all that because it works faster when you're just doing one sigil. But If you're doing multiple sigils, then that's a whole different thing, and that's splitting up your focus. So I'm not going to promote that. But for different people, different powers, different placements in their charts, the sky's the limit. We all have these different innate abilities, and that's why I say look at your chart, because it's going to give you a hint on what you can do and can't do. And for other people to go around saying that's bullshit, that never worked for me, how can you do that? Well, it's because my placements are different than your placements, because my program is different than your program, and that's how. Simple as that. But every day you're going to make a different sigil with those consonants. You're going to make a different picture. You're going to make a different symbol. Okay, and you're going to do the same process every day to add the visualization and adding the emotion to it after you reconstruct the sigil in your head. But you can if you want. That's optional. You don't have to. I've had success with both, and I've had success with none of this. But you can. Okay, and then on the 7th day, I would say that's a sigil you're going to keep, okay? But you put different sigils in your head all for the same thing, different pictures over and over again, but that last sigil is the one you're going to have. I'd say I'd put that one up in the house somewhere. And you can put them all up in the house if you want. All these different sigils mean the same thing. I mean, I would say that's a very awesome thing to do because, if you're asking for $1,000 and you got it in your mind, well, that's going to happen. But then if you put it up in your house and then you got 4 other members of your family or 5 like I have in your house walking around and they see that and it gets in their subconscious mind, well, then, down the road, you're going to get another 1,000, another 1,000, another 1,000. All right, just for them seeing it and their mind knowing what it is. It's not their manifestation. It's easier for someone else to manifest something for somebody else or something negative for themselves than it is for you to manifest something positive for yourself. And there's many reasons, and maybe I'll get into that a bit later, but that would be another step I would do. And like I said earlier, if you record your statement of intent and use it as a affirmation and you put that on a loop while you go to sleep, okay? And you do the sleep sigil is where you take that sigil of the day or after the 7th day, the one sigil you stay with, the one you're going to jerk off to if you decide to do that method as well. And I would say, why the hell not? If you're not against it, then you might as well do it. I would say, though, it's good for those 7 days while you're doing this. If you can abstain from sex, this way you have at least 7 days of built up energy, and then you can release it into that sigil. Because now you did the meditations, you put visualization, you put emotion in it, you did magic every one of these days. And then on the 7th day, you got one of these sigils and you're going to do a different type of magic with it. And the odds of this not happening are very slim, okay? And it's really the minute you can stop thinking about it for like 24 hours, and as long as you get sleep within that 24 hours, I'd say it's going to happen pretty fucking fast. Because that's the way it worked for me every single time. The longest sigil it took was probably like fucking, I want to say 3 weeks. And they've all been, either 3 weeks or less. And I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm just saying, when I do a sigil, I do all these things. I do all these things I just mentioned. I put them up on the wall where I can see them. I do the sleep sigil. I fucking do the affirmation and I put it on fucking the loop. I do the visualization. I make it go in my mind. I build up my fucking sexual energy and I release it all in that one idea. And then anytime during the day I get emotional, I think about that manifestation as well. You know what I mean? I put all these things in line together and I do them all at once. So that could be why it happens. But if you do all these things, it's going to happen. Now the reason I told this person to start small is because, like anything, right? If you want to start working out, but you've never worked out before, you're not going to go grab, a 50 or 45 pound in your right hand and start curling it or start doing a tricep kickback or even a shoulder press or anything like that. You have to start with the hopefully the 10s or the 15s, but maybe even less than that, depending on, what you do and how athletic you are and whatever the case is. So you got to gradually get to your goal. And this is where the Jordan Peterson stuff comes in handy because he's a realist in that sense, You can have whatever you want within certain guidelines, but you got to gradually get there. It's not going to happen right away. And that's a good view to have in magic because then if it does happen pretty fast, well, then that's awesome. You defied the laws. But to at least know it's going to happen and it's just going to take time and work and effort is a good way to go instead of thinking, no, I can have this when I want it and then it not happening and you thinking it's all bullshit. So the reason I told her to go small is because, well, first of all, she's in the Neophyte and, you're not supposed to do much in the Neophyte and it's for multiple reasons. One is because you're not as depolarized as you should be. Now, I'd say if you're at the 6-month mark in your Neophyte grade and you haven't decided to go to the next grade yet, then you should be fine if you've been doing the exercises, the banish, reject, protecting eye exercises and the grounding exercises and your daily temple work at least once a day, getting the archangels on your sides and doing middle pillar, then you should be fine. You should be fine to be able to start that and, potentially even fine to move on. I wasn't ready in 6 months, but, everybody's fucking different. It doesn't matter what placements you got or whatever. It's when you feel you're comfortable, and, that could be broken down to programming too and reinserted with different programming. But point is, the first sigil magic I did, like I said, was for my snowboard, and I ended up getting $100 for the snowboard instead of the $20 they were going to offer me. Someone paid $100 just for the board. The bindings, I ended up giving it to Play It Against Sports just to fucking sell, and as whatever, and even the boots too. So the boots, and the boots and the bindings, and I got $100 for the board, and I was ecstatic. But then after that, I used sigil magic. Well, I used it for money there, but that was later on, still during the Neophyte, but it was my second version of the Neophyte, redoing everything I already did in a better way. And it was using Financial Sorcery, which is a book I played on here and put a PDF in one of my episodes. So if I can find the episode, I will put it in the description, or if I can find the PDF, I'll put it on here as well. And there's a bunch of Jupiter sigils in that book for everything from finding a job, getting entrepreneurial work, for good luck, for all these things. And there's one I actually used it for a picture once. It's like a 4, it looks like the 4, like the Jupiter, the 2-4, the Jupiter sign there with a circle in it, and you just put the dollar amount in that circle. Now, if you can translate that to a different language, old language, dead language, that'll work good too, but you don't have to, because I've used just the dollar symbol and the dollar amount in numbers, and it worked. And I used the words, and I've used old languages, and they've all worked. But besides that, I started using sigil magic to reprogram my mind specifically for habits I wanted to lose and habits I wanted to gain, using the waning and the waxing part of the moon in coordinates with sigil magic. And you don't have to do that either, but everything you can add to in your favor, it's going to help you, and it's going to make shit work faster for you. But I wanted to reprogram my mind. I wanted certain things to happen faster. I wanted my manifestation to happen faster. I wanted me to be able to be depolarized. I wanted me to be able to meditate was one of the biggest things, because I was having trouble meditating without putting Michael Seeley or somebody on like that. Or I'd have to do my ritual in my head, and that would put me in a meditative state, to the point where I was coming in and out, and I was visualizing these weird things, and I had to bring myself back. But I knew my subconscious was right at the surface, because I kept kind of going into this sleep or theta or beta state. I don't know which one it would be. But while I was doing that, so that was the only way I could. And I used sigil magic for the ability to be able to meditate, okay? And then just one day I was able to sit there, lay there, and not fall asleep, and get into this beautiful state of mind, and things just started coming to me. And then I also use sigil magic to be able to automatic write, to be able to channel. These are things you could do that aren't going to have backlash, okay, that aren't going to harm anybody, maybe you, but and it's good ways to go forward and see if it's working for you. And that's what I mean by starting small, and that was why I gave that advice to her. But this is how I would go about it. Every day for 7 days or 6 days, you make a different sigil, a different symbol with the same letters and the same statement of intent. And then on the 7th day, that would be your final copy that you would do the jerk off method to, and post it up in your house and do the sleep magic with and all that. Okay, that's what I would say. Because every day you made a different symbol. They're going to be similar in some ways, but different in some ways. But this way, you really reinforced in your mind, because it's not like just making one sigil. And okay, well, this sigil means the statement of intent. And some people, if they don't know how this works or how the mind works with symbolism and associates these two things together, then they might be kind of like, well, how's this going to work? And they're going to fuck up their own magic by overthinking it and shit like that. But by doing it for 7 days in a row, you're reinforcing for 7, however long it takes to do this process every day. Let's say it's an hour every day. Well, for that hour every day, you're assigning a meaning, a visualization, and an emotion to that statement of intent. So you're doing magic before you even do the sigil magic, okay? You're implanting the suggestion into your subconscious mind before you even do it. And you're reinforcing exactly what that sigil means over and over and over again. So, like I said, this stuff isn't necessary, but it helps immensely. And if you're doing something you don't really care about, I would expect it in like 2 to 3 days, maybe a week max, if you're just starting. Okay, but if something you care about, then it's really going to depend on how fast you can let the shit go. But you know what I mean? By reinforcing this every single day in your head, what this means, well, that's the crucial part. So sigil magic is the one type of magic I'd say is the best magic to do while you're in your neophyte. But that being said, you can still do affirmations while you're in your neophyte. You can still do recording different things that you want to happen, and it could be just like affirmations. Listen to that over and over at night, and that will reprogram your mind. You can identify your programming that you think you have, or belief systems that you think you have that are holding you back, and get rid of those and implant new ones by literally saying on the recorder that I reject, banish, and deny all these belief systems, and I replace them with these belief systems. I will be harm-free, so mote it be. Corey LeBlanc, magical name. Boom. Over and over again on a loop. And if you can't loop it, well, then you just got to say it over and over again. The more you say it and record it, well, the better off you're going to be. And these are all magics you can do while you're in your neophyte stage that can have huge effects. And you know what? Some people don't even need to go past this. Because these are things I still do now to this day because I can get fast results with it. So I don't need to do the big elaborate things. Normally, when I want something, these are the things I do. I do sigil magic with a recording, with a sigil in my house, with a statement of intent, and I turn that into an affirmation. And then I do the 7-day fucking thing, and I meditate on that instead of my tarot card or a point on the wall or a question I have. And, from there, I can, for what your sigil is trying to accomplish, okay? If it's getting money. Well, if you have religious doctrine, belief systems in you that money is evil, well, a good thing to do either before, after, or during is, because you can do stuff that are in line with each other. Because if your focus is to get $1,000, well, they say to not focus on too many things at the same time. But if you remove religious belief that money is of the devil, and you insert that money is a neutral energy, and all the money you've received, you're grateful for, and you've used for the greater good of your city, your town, your family, and you thank all the gods that have, and all the deities and all the divine angelic spirits that gave you that money, and that you are going to give them offerings every day for that money. I will be harm-free, so mote it be. You fucking do that, you're going to accomplish the same fucking thing, but in a different way, and that could be either a second sigil, or that could be just what you're doing in your head. It could be something you do first, because that alone can bring you money. This is one of my earliest episodes. I said this, just by getting rid, because then that was the point. The neophyte grade, you're not supposed to do magic, but if you can realize your programming and get rid of the programming that no longer serves you, while you're depolarizing, if you can get rid of that shit, that could allow the floodgates for money to come into you, because that could be holding you back right now. You do a sigil for $1,000, you might get that $1,000, but then someone might steal it before you fucking take it out of the bank, or some fraud might happen, or something bad might happen, because your subconscious mind's going to say, no, we can't start manifesting money. Manifesting's of the devil, first of all, because of your religious belief systems. And on top of manifesting and using those powers being of the devil, money is the root of all evil. So you don't get to keep this money. So that's why it's more important to do that sometimes. Now, if you don't have that, and that's why it's good to try little things, because if you do a bunch of little sigils that don't matter, like balls or getting your check faster that you're already going to get regardless, right? Asking for extra money, or if your daughter comes home with headlights and you get rid of it with a sigil, which I've done. My daughter had headlights 2 years ago. I did a sigil, bam. I also used oils and stuff like that, but it never came back, and we got a big family, so it's easy for that shit to spread like wildfire. But if you use little things you don't really care about, like your plant's sick, you want it to grow, whatever the case is, you use these little things and you get results, and then you go to get money and you don't get results, well, then you've just identified that there's a problem there, and it's probably programming. So this is another reason to do that. But anyways, so that's it for now about this topic. I hope I covered everything I needed to cover, and things will come back to me if I miss anything, and so I'll bring it back up. But I got to take a short break here for a second and do some cleaning, and yeah, you're not going to notice it because I'm just going to come back on and keep talking, but I just feel the need to tell you for some fucked up reason. But yeah, I'm going to talk about something else, or I might even leave it at this, just a 50-minute episode. We'll see. But if I don't come back, I hope you have a great fucking day.